Brett Hudson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's a pleasure to rise into this annual reviews. What we see with the opposition is, despite their very best efforts, and a recent poll would suggest that most of New Zealand doesn't see their best as that good, despite their very best efforts to talk down New Zealand, despite the fact they show that they have no aspiration, that they have no confidence in New Zealanders and New Zealand businesses performing, despite their very best attempts to talk down New Zealand, despite those attempts, the fact is New Zealand is doing very, very well. The economy is growing 2.3% in 2015. Most pundits are predicting an average of 3% over the next few years. The country is doing well. 170,000 jobs created over the last 3 years, 170,000, a further 148,000 forecast over the next 3. They try to talk it down, but the facts just are getting in the way of their story. It's not even a good story. But even to compound that, so no, despite their best efforts to talk it down, the facts get in the way, but then their colleagues are completely confused. They don't know if things are good or bad, if interest rates are too high or too low. Apparently they are the same at the same time. It's quite interesting. Mr Tabito says interest rates too high, it's constraining our exporters, the people that National say they support. Yes, the exporters. So last year, exports grew $1.9 billion. $1.9 billion into the headwind created by a drop-off in the dairy. Dairy fell by $3 billion. With exports growing a total of 1.9, that tells us that other export industries and sectors grew $4.9 billion. By any measure in New Zealand, that's an economy that's performing extraordinarily well. And there was a previous comment too, Mr Chair, also from the member for Napier. The Minister of Finance noted that the member for Napier, would appear to be on the right-wing side of Labour. He also pointed out that it's quite relevant, or quite relative. And the reason it is relative, I'd argue, is that member was talking about, whereas this government has a very strong focus on optimisation in public services, delivering better public services for the same or less amount of money. The member for Napier, on the other hand, was just consumed with the idea of not spending less. He clearly sees that government is a big driver of economic growth through its own spending. Now, we accept that government is a big spender in the economy. It has to be. But on this side of the House, we know that it's businesses that drive growth, businesses that drive employment up, and businesses that drive wages up. And that's why we are committed to opening markets for our exporters to export their products and services. That's why we are open to channels of investment, whether it's direct foreign investment or whether it's innovative approaches like crowdsourcing. This is a government that knows it's private enterprise that drives the ultimate results for government business. So we're there supporting our businesses to grow, to reach new markets, to have the confidence to employ more New Zealanders, and through that to push incomes up. And we've seen that, Mr Chair. So we've seen incomes rise. If we take a longer view of this, from 2010, the Minister of Finance recently reported, from 2010, average wages have grown 15%. Inflation over that same period has only risen 10%. More recently, inflation has been incredibly low, decades low, around 0.1%, yet average wages continue to rise. People in New Zealand are better off. They're better off because their incomes are growing faster than inflation, and they are better off because there are more employment opportunities, because this is a government that is supporting business to grow and to get out into the worldwide market. So what we see and what we report on, Mr Chair, is a New Zealand government that is performing well, is supporting businesses, supporting also government entities. The member from the Greens made a point, which I think symbolises how their lack of understanding of business. She talked about how utility companies or mixed ownership model companies are now delivering greater dividends under the new model than they were previously. She completely misses the point. The reason they are delivering better dividends now is because of the structural change this government put in place, because of the reprioritisation they have through their different governance model. If it was simply a matter that they could have delivered those dividends, the real question is, why didn't they do it beforehand? By any measure, the mixed ownership model is delivering more for New Zealanders, and it's delivering better results for the government. This government is in great shape, Mr Chair.